Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Did You Hear About This? I'm Bill.
I am Scott.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Happy 100th episode, sir.
Came fast.
It really did.
Well, how you doing, man? What's new with you?
Oh, man. It's been a week. I've had the whole week off of work, and I went down a self-indulgent listening spree of some old episodes we can talk about here later on to celebrate the 100th.
Oh, so that's the topic today.
Kinda, yeah.
Walk down memory lane. Remember we said a best of show? That's when you know you've jumped the shark? Congratulations on our 100th episode, everybody. You are listening to us jump the shark.
Yeah, but we're not shot for shot remaking an episode or anything. We're just going to talk about some of the shit we talked about. I picked 3 episodes.
All right.
I think they have some meaning to me anyway.
You want to tell us which 3? Or
Nope.
You want to wait?
We're going to wait.
All right.
We're going to wait.
So we'll do the conversation. We'll talk about a bunch of news stories. Everybody out there, we're doing video for the second time. Hopefully we've worked out the bugs.
Hopefully.
We
at least learned how to upload video to our computers from our phones.
I have a better light so that I don't completely go in and out of focus, I think. Right now it's probably pulling me in and out of focus.
I might have a better angle this time. I don't know.
We don't know.
You tell me.
It's called a work in progress.
Work with us.
So
yeah, man, whole week off of work, and it did not feel like a week off of work. Like, I had nothing planned. I just needed to take a bit of a break, hit the recharge button a little bit. I mentioned a few episodes back that I was making healthier life choices at the urging of my wife. I guess she wants me around a little bit longer or something. I don't know. But it started off with me getting the brakes changed on my car so that I don't go careening and smashing into something. This week, I went to the eye doctor on Monday, and I was at the dentist the past 3 days. It's probably been about 8 years since I've been to the dentist for a non-emergency issue.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, you know what? Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because like your plaque buildup and all that jazz, it's like no different than any other 6-month checkup. So if you wouldn't have told me it was 8 years, I'd have had no idea it was 8 years.
I've never gone routinely. Yeah, look at that smile. It's beautiful. I'm going to put a little sparkle effect on it on the video. I don't go routinely. I never did. And I've got maybe 4 cavities in my life. I'm very lucky.
See, I have terrible teeth.
Really?
Well, I mean, like, they're aligned and they're good, but I've had cavities my entire life, man.
Yeah. I brush, but I brush with the mouthwash. Like, I don't even use toothpaste. I just put mouthwash in there and then I brush with that. I've just done that my whole life.
Oh.
And I told the dentist, and he goes, you can't do that. But then finally, I went back and he's like, your teeth are perfect. I guess keep doing what you're doing because it's working for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm a big believer. I work in marketing, so I'm a big believer that most soap is just soap. Body wash, same soap. Bubble bath, same soap.
Sure.
Toothpaste ain't that different. You know, the stuff that kills germs in the mouth, whether it's a paste or a liquid form, is really soap. It's all kind of the same. So you just got to find what works for you.
Well, she said it's been working, but one root canal later, here I am.
You're going to have dentures one day.
Maybe.
Could you imagine are we getting to that age where we have to start thinking about dentures?
I don't know, man.
Like, you thinking about your health. I remember a phase, it was only a couple years ago, it's like, you know, I really haven't had a physical or a...
That's the next step.
Yeah, what's the one with a... Whoop,
oh, the old... Whoop,
whoop, what's
the
that?
old...
What do they call that damn thing?
I was going to say proctologist, but there's a colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy, that's it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Then there's also just the old... Think a happy thought.
Yeah, that's just a physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Turn your head and cough.
Well, that's just when they grab you by the old...
Yeah. Yeah, I had to go to the doctor and do all that. And I went, and my wife wanted me to do it, too. She said, go to the get a colonoscopy. It's important, get it.
When you're 50, it's like, that's the year you have to get it done.
I got it done at 48. They said, why are you here? I said, my wife told me it was time to come.
I just like having things stuck up my ass.
Maybe. Maybe. Well, sorry to hear about your dental issues.
No, all good, man. I'm on, I told the dentist, I was like, look, I can't change what happened, but I can change what happens next. So you going to help me, or you going to shame me for not going to the dentist for the past 8 years, or what's this going to be? He's a real cool guy. So how about you? How's your week been?
Nothing special. Just working.
Yeah?
Just working.
Been doing a lot of cooking, too.
I've been doing a lot of eating.
Well, they go hand in hand.
Oh, my God. I had to talk about consuming. I had more beer last weekend with Brother Steve visiting than I've had in forever.
Oh, he's a brewer though, right? That's like his gig.
Yeah. So we hit some like local breweries, some local places around here. And I think the total was 12 beers I had over a weekend, which for me in the old days was nothing.
They used to be like a Thursday night.
Oh, I weighed 1,000,000 pounds for about 6 days, 5 days. Today's the first day. Yeah, my math is terrible because this is the 5th day. But I felt like I was the heaviest I've ever been. I just awkward and uncomfortable and just feeling yucky. And it's all because of beer.
That's a lot of bloat, man.
Yeah, man. Another shitty part about getting older.
It's nothing but yeast.
And alcohol.
Well, yeast makes the alcohol. Yeast eats sugar, shit's alcohol. We did the home brewing thing. You know how this works.
Barely. Hardly remember. We had...
That was too much beer.
Yeah, it was too much beer. We burned out too many brain cells. Oh, my God. Do you remember we had cases of this stuff?
Yeah.
We couldn't give it away because we were making stuff we liked. IPAs. Nobody else wanted it. Like, take that vomit away from us. Okay. Yeah, so we had to drink our own beer.
You watching anything good?
Just the Tyson fight. That was actually all I saw.
Oh, you watched that?
I did watch it.
I did not. I did some reading about it, but I didn't tune in.
No?
I hear like Netflix crashed. Like it was like a big technical issue with Netflix.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that was all about. Here's what happened for us. So we started to get the same issue everybody was getting where all of a sudden it would say buffering, 25% buffering.
Yeah.
And it would stop. So I have a Roku remote. I would just go back to the home screen and then click the title again.
Right back up.
Boop, boop, just like that fast, and it would be right back up. But then it started to happen more often. So every 2 minutes it started to happen. So I'm like, maybe this isn't Netflix being too congested. Maybe too many people in my area are using the internet.
So you think it was a local issue, not a Netflix server issue?
Maybe. Now everybody's complaining and saying it was a Netflix issue.
Yeah.
So it might be a hybrid. So here's what I did. It's cable internet that we have coming in. Cable is like... It's like a water supply and hoses.
Yeah.
There's only so much internet that can go through all these hoses to get to all the houses. So if the internet is low going into a house, you have buffering issues. So my brilliant thinking was, why don't I turn on the hotspot on my phone, connect the Roku to the hotspot, so I'm using data, AT&T, instead of, local internet cable, my local internet cable provider, and the problem went away. 100% went away. So I was like, I outsmarted everybody. But they're still saying that Netflix had problems. So maybe it was a coincidence. They fixed their shit right as I was making this change. Or maybe local congestion really was part of the problem for a lot of people.
So all of my home internet is coming through Verizon. Like I have the 5G home internet. Mm-hmm. So I don't do anything with cable.
Yeah, we got
so
cable.
I wouldn't have had a problem at all.
Yeah.
In theory.
But it was... great. I loved it. There were 4 matches, right? Every match was good.
Yeah.
Every fight was good. The second match until Tyson, there were 2 women fighting. And if you've ever seen women fighters, they're fierce, just insane. I mean, the blood pouring off them was intense.
No shit.
It was gross. The one woman, I don't even remember their names, but the one woman had a gouge in her eye. Like, you could see her brain. Like, it was that fucking ugly. Wow. Yeah, dude, it was intense. And then it gets to the Jake Paul fight and the Mike Tyson fight, and it was what I was expecting. It was pretty much exactly what I was expecting.
It was a young guy and an old guy standing in a ring fighting.
It was an old guy looking awfully tired.
That's what I hear. A lot of people are pissed off about this.
Why?
They're basically saying that Jake Paul held him up for like the last 4 rounds or something.
I will say it is conceivable that he didn't go as strong as he could have gone. I don't know anything about Jake Paul. I know he's some kind of internet guy. I know he's
an influencer guy or something, right?
Influencer.
Yeah.
Does he influence people to be assholes? Because I hear he's an asshole. I hear he's a troll. All these things.
That's what I hear.
I liked the guy a lot. I liked his boxing style. He's got an amazing reach, right?
He's a tall guy, right?
He was tall. And Tyson, if you remember, he's kind of a short, stocky guy. He doesn't have quite that reach.
Yeah.
So I think Tyson was always looking for, where's that pocket? You're not giving me the chance to jump in here. So you never got any explosive Mike Tyson moments. Because I don't think he either A, he couldn't find a way in.
Or he can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Or both are true.
Yeah, so he looked tired. It looked like he was trying to win on points towards the end.
So how long did it go?
It went the whole round. Or it went the whole duration. 8 rounds, I think it was.
8 rounds, and it was decision, I hear.
Right.
And it went to Jake Paul unanimously.
Easily. Yeah. By the time we were in the 4th round, we're like, yeah, this is over.
I hear speculation that there might be some legal recourse or complaints from people that lost money by betting on Tyson.
don't bet if you're gonna, be afraid of losing money.
Yeah, they're saying it was like a rigged fight. It was just a cash grab.
Rigged.
I'm just telling you what I read, man.
We need to kill the internet. We just got to turn it off. I don't see anything. Sure, fine. Maybe it was rigged. Maybe they were all in this together. I don't know. But I saw what seemed to me to be a pretty legitimate fight. I mean, it looked pretty legitimate, except Jake Paul was basically like, I don't want to beat the fuck out of this guy.
Yeah.
I do respect this guy.
I don't want to kill an old man.
I don't want to tarnish his legacy by beating him to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
So at the end, they always ring the bell. They do a quick bell ring when there's 10 seconds left in the round.
Yep.
And in the last 10 seconds, I thought what he did was really cool. So he's like, look, I won this fight. You know I won this fight. So he just, instead of being like a douchebag, like, nah, like he just kind of put his hands together, did like a praise, like, I respect you. This was great. Thank you. You're the best. And I was like, is Mike Tyson is this a shot?
Punch him?
Boom! Knock him out. Because that would have been so old school Mike Tyson.
Bow to your sensei.
Yeah, but because Mike Tyson would be like a shark. When
Yeah.
the old days, his temper, his rage was out of control.
He beat a guy's ear off.
I'm sure he wasn't even present. I'm sure he was just in that other state. Where his eyes roll black, like a shark. So he didn't have any of that.
White.
Or white, right. I thought it was black. Wait, it's black. It's when they roll the eyes black to protect their eyes.
The eyes roll back and they roll over to white.
The other way? I don't hang out with sharks enough to...
lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Yeah.
Ain't quite living, ain't quite dead. Then you hear the scream.
The only lifeless eyes that Tyson was showing was exhaustion. Yeah, I mean, Jake Paul was, 26, and Tyson's 58, and he doesn't fight anymore, and he trained for the last 6 months, but you're an old man.
I also read in that same article that he was sick, like, during training. They weren't sure if he was going to, make the fight.
Yeah,
but if the fight doesn't happen, nobody gets paid.
Right.
So they're like, well, this fight's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a sick guy.
I saw an old guy.
Yeah, it wasn't like Donovan McNabb on the Super Bowl when
Curling.
he puked in front of everybody. Yeah, that's a sick guy.
Yeah.
The best part of the thing, the absolute best part of the night was they're getting closer to the Tyson Paul fight, and now they're starting to do the interviews with Paul. Like, are you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm in the zone. All right, let's do it with Tyson. So Tyson's kid is interviewing Tyson for this little quick segment, and it's live. It's a live segment, and he's like, "You ready for the fight, Dad?" or something. He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready for the fight, son. I'm ready." And really nothing said because Tyson ain't that bright. He's not a sophisticated speaker, so he just had nothing really to say. And then he turns around because he's done his talk. He walks. Picture this in your head, okay? He walks away from the camera. You start to realize this son of a bitch isn't wearing any pants. All of a sudden, you see Tyson's bare ass. He's wearing a jock strap in the front, and his bare ass is showing. He's just walking away. No fucks given. Bare ass on TV. Just walks away. And one of the hosts of the show goes, "Well, we didn't need to see that." But I was laughing my ass off. Tyson ass right there on TV.
Yeah, he was comfortable.
He just didn't care. Dude, at least put a towel on.
You say he's not that well-spoken. He had one of the greatest boxing quotes ever. Right before he was going to fight maybe Evander Holyfield, and I'm paraphrasing, but they were talking, "Champ, they say that the challenger has a plan." He's like, "Yeah, everybody has a plan. They get punched in the fucking head."
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember him saying that.
Which has got to be the truest thing about boxing ever.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. I was thoroughly entertained. Are you not entertained? I was entertained. I mean, watching boxing, watching how savage it all is, and then thinking about that Gladiator movie, we haven't evolved much as a species.
No.
That was our Gladiator. That's our Rome Coliseum.
Yeah, I haven't really watched boxing since the mid-2000s. Mid-2000s. It was like Lennox Lewis against the Klitschko brothers.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been that long for me, too, because I got into boxing for a while, but Manny Pacquiao, when he was boxing, I was tuned out by then.
Yeah, but I'm talking, heavyweights. There hasn't been heavyweight boxing really,
right.
No good cards that I know of since Lennox Lewis.
Right. Well, now Tyson Paul. Yeah, but at the end, Paul gave a nice speech. It wasn't the smacked-ass kid I was expecting. So, I don't know. I respected the guy. I respected his fighting style. He acted a little corny at times coming up to the fight. Yeah. You know how they put the two people together?
Yeah,
Right
the way off?
The way off.
Way in.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul comes crawling in like a cat or something, and he gets up real fast, and he steps on Tyson's toes. And this is one of those moments where Tyson just smacked him in the face because he didn't even think twice, like, fuck you stepped on my toes. Like, just where the anger took over. I completely believe that's what happened. Other people are like, it was all for show. It's show business. I'm like, maybe it was, but it looked real.
Usually the big pose.
Yeah, they do all that.
Yeah.
They do all that. And then at the end, they're like, we just beat the shit out of each other. And you can see that these guys who used to be friends in some way are now maybe friends again.
Well, I think what happened to professional boxing, and you're more of a fan of this than what I am, UFC came in and just stole all the thunder, stole all the viewership. Boxing was just a passé thing because you had mixed martial arts and everything else going on in the octagon.
Yeah. I was talking about this with Brother Steve when he was here. I loved the earliest UFC. I don't even think it was called UFC then. What was it called then? Maybe it was. Maybe it was called
UFC.
Was it?
I never watched it. I'm not a fan.
You know what? I think it was just on the VHS boxes, which is how I would watch it because it was illegal to air on TV. It eventually became something they could put on pay-per-view. But I used to go to the video store and get Ultimate Fighting Championship
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
videos, which is, I guess is the same UFC. I think that's what it was called back then. But it was great because you'd get like, it would be like Street Fighter 2. You'd get a sumo wrestler versus a jiu-jitsu guy. You get somebody who knows Krav Maga versus like, a professional wrestler. Who would win? What styles win? And then this guy, Hoist Gracie, came out.
Yeah.
Hoist Gracie just beat everybody. He's like, all I got to do is grapple you and choke you out.
That was the problem. Like, it was always like over before it started.
With Hoist Gracie especially. So everybody's like, well, my style doesn't work. Kickboxing doesn't work. Judo doesn't work. None of this works. Hoist Gracie style works. So that's what UFC really is. It's started one way. It started Street Fighter 2, and now it's really everything that Hoist Gracie created. So it's all grapples. And yeah, I really do like watching some UFC fights. Anything can happen.
Never been a fan.
No?
Nope.
God, I went to a real fight. Like, you could hear the punching in the face. Like, it sounds brutal. It doesn't even come through on the TV show, on the broadcast. But when you're there watching just constant punches and hearing that sound from your seat, that is different.
I'll take your word for it, man.
All of us in the seats started to get like bloodlust. We're like, "Arr, arr, let me in. I want to fight. I want to throw some punches. Well, what about you? What are you watching?
What am I watching? I restarted watching Schitt's Creek for like the fourth time now. Like, it's such a well-written show.
I can't do that. I can't go back to a show that I've watched completely through and watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute since I did this, but it's a great show.
Yeah, very good show.
Yeah.
Why did it end? Just ran out of steam? Ran out of...
I think Dan and Eugene Levy just wanted to move on to something else. Maybe nothing. Like, they wanted to end it before it got corny,
Maybe they moved on to nothing? Yeah, because I haven't seen them since. I saw Eugene Levy was in the last season of Only Murders in the Building.
He was.
But that was a small part.
And Dan Levy was in The Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion? With Eddie Murphy?
No, the newer one with the girl that plays Ahsoka Tano. Rosario Dawson.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Yeah, it came out like 2 years ago.
Don't even remember.
You ain't missing much. And that was talk about a small role. That was a small role.
Blink and you miss it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That show really, it was it had a slow start. And I remember I got into it like 2.5 seasons late.
Yeah.
Because finally everybody started saying, are you seeing this Schitt's Creek? Like, I remember seeing the commercials and the ads and all that going, that's funny. They're kind of getting away with saying shit.
Rolling shit.
But nobody ever actually...
Horror shit.
But nobody actually, was saying, hey, you got to see this show until they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, watching a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, same.
I have to say, I think one of the biggest mistakes that Disney made here in the past few years, and this is a bold statement because they made many, but they canceled The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum, I think, is a natural treasure. I could watch him sit and talk about anything.
Well, I think you got to check.
I saw the commercials for that. I don't know what the hell it was about.
He would just go around and do weird shit. One time he was talking about how blue jeans are made. One time he would just go. It was almost like a Discovery Channel show. He would just go around and do whatever. But he did it in a very Jeff Goldblum way. It's like, yeah, yeah, just harumphs all over the place and just funny to watch. I was watching him do a Vanity Fair or maybe a GQ interview about Jeff Goldblum watching people do Jeff Goldblum impersonations. It's maybe the best TV I watched in the past month.
Really? I like him, but I can't tell if he's full of shit with that character or that's really him.
He's so fucking weird, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
It's the kind of guy that would normally like annoy me. I couldn't get enough.
Wasn't he in Earth Girls Are Easy? What was that?
Earth Girls Are Easy.
With Jim Carrey, remember?
Yeah.
He was an alien.
Yep.
And he was like a heartthrob then. He was
Sure.
He was supposed to be the sexy guy of the three aliens. Damon Wayans was an alien.
That's right. Him, Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
Yep.
And somehow, I don't know, he kept his career going. That's pretty cool.
The Fly. That was huge.
And Fly was big. But what else?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be the thing that really
Sure.
kept him alive for a while.
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Because he hasn't had a ton of hit movies.
No. He played the guy in Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok.
I like that.
So he's in the MCU.
That was good. I enjoyed that a lot.
He basically played himself in that.
Yeah, it's just him. It's his shtick. It's his character. It's not even acting.
Now he's like a jazz musician.
I've heard that. I've heard he's an amazing jazz musician.
Yeah.
And you got to be a little kooky, man.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, he's just all over the place. Yeah, so that's been my week. Just pretty low key.
Yeah.
Going to the doctor, this doctor, that doctor, every doctor, and
Every doctor.
getting fixed.
Yeah. Getting fixed?
No, not getting fixed. Maybe. But not this week.
Oh, I did that. I did. All right. I can tie this back to dentistry. So when I was a kid and I did get a cavity filled and they give me the Novocaine, it never takes. When I was a kid, I would feel the drill and I would scream and cry. And my parents were like, "You're being a baby." I'm like, "No." Like, it hurts. Like, I still can remember that feeling.
Yeah.
So Novocaine, for some reason, it takes a lot of shots for me to actually feel it. When I got fixed, evidently down there, it takes a lot of shots for me to not feel the pain because the doctor was doing the work and I'm screaming and I'm like, something isn't right. This isn't supposed to hurt this bad.
Is this when they told you had a thick nutsack?
They did say that, as a matter of fact. I was like, well, then give me extra Novocaine because the shit ain't working.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Novocaine, anything I got to do where Novocaine is introduced, I'm like, you're going to have to give me like 20 shots.
Dude, before you start cutting my twig and berries, you better test that shit with a hammer or something. You better make damn sure I can't feel anything.
Yeah, I'm like a rhinoceros or something. Like, you need to give me rhinoceros drugs so I don't feel this shit.
Horse tranquilizer.
My biggest fear is I do what you did, get a root canal, and I feel everything. Well, why don't we move it on?
Yeah, this is fucking old man talk here. Let's crank this up a little bit.
Why they listen?
That's why.
It's got to be. That's what the analytics numbers tell us.
Any mailbag?
I have no mailbag, no fuck-upperies. We were evidently perfect again.
Well, Steve was here,
Right.
so he wasn't going to be self-depreciating. He was going to talk it all up.
Well, others could have written in.
Could have.
I think others are intimidated because they're like, Steve's going to get to it first.
They would have had the leg up. Steve was here.
Right. But you were saying for the main segment, you went through a couple of our old episodes.
Yeah.
You wanted to revisit some old episodes.
Yeah, so 100th episode, a big milestone. Thinking back, a lot of old TV shows and things like that, they do like retrospectives, like clip shows. We can't really do a clip show per se, but I did some deep diving on some old episodes here, so I picked some milestone ones I feel.
Okay.
And I think I'll just talk about them, kind of recap them, see if I have anything more to add.
You know, I'm not going to remember we talked about any of this stuff.
I know. That's the funny thing. Some of these things aged well. Some of them did not.
Oh.
They're all funny for different reasons, but I think both well and poorly, the aging is hilarious.
All right. I'm curious to hear what you got.
All right. So feel free to chime in here. So episode 1, the pilot, as we called it.
I have no memory of that. All I know is it was your first podcast ever. And I had done one for about 2 years before. And when I listened back, I went, boy, I learned nothing in those first 2 years.
I was doing it from my kitchen, very echoey kitchen. My dog kept ringing the doorbell on the back door because she had to go out. I kept hearing her bark. I'm like, what? Am I talking into a tin can? Like, what the hell is going on? So, it was published on October 23rd, 2022. That is according to this, the date of our inception.
Okay.
The show ran for 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 18 seconds. We're always right around that 1 hour-ish mark.
And we've kind of said that feels like the sweet spot for us to say all the things without being too verbose and...
Too repetitive and people just getting the shits of it.
Yeah.
Sound quality was awful, like I just said.
Yeah.
Editing was terrible.
It was done through the internet. We were using that internet service, so we were using a Yeti Blue mic, which was a USB mic.
I was using my microphone in my laptop.
Oh, really?
I didn't even have a Yeti yet.
No?
I think maybe you sent a Yeti home with me, now that I think about it.
Okay.
With a faulty wire.
With a faulty
We
wire.
later found out.
Yeah, those things are trash.
Well, editing was terrible. Like, there's things where now we do a take and then we hold on, I'm going to redo that and do it again. All that made the air.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't do any editing. I knew nothing about editing. I knew nothing about podcasts. I still really don't, but, I get by.
I would argue you do. I mean, so for the people, if you don't know, Scott does the first edit. So Scott takes... This is the way I look at it. I said it to you on text. It's like drawing a comic book. You're the guy who actually draws everything. I'm the inker. I go and I detail things. I tighten it up just a little tiny bit. But you do the hard work. You keep the flow going. You cut out what doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got the heavy lift.
I guess. Well, this had a great intro. Show number 1, fantastic intro. Terrible copyright strikes, I'm sure. But the intro for the first show had James Earl Jones quotes. It had various movie music. It had sound effects. The intro to the first show was incredible. Completely demonetized, for sure.
Sure.
But it was fantastic. Topics for the first show included bad CGI in movies.
Okay.
No surprise there. It was too much CGI.
The show was called Too Much CGI back then.
Some of the movies named Spawn, Transformers, and the Star Wars prequels. And you were throwing on anything else being made for television by Disney Star Wars at the time.
I was calling that out as bad
Mandalorian,
CGI.
everything else, yep.
Even Mandalorian I didn't like.
You said you could tell it was done on a green screen.
And a lot of them, a lot of those early Mandalorian shows did use practical effects. I'm surprised I said it was CGI knowing it was practical effects. I can always tell. Yeah, I bet I know what I was saying. Because I can tell when it's filmed in a lot, in a studio, versus out in location. A great example being the last Indiana Jones movie. You've seen it, right?
You're getting ahead of me here, Bill.
Am I talking about that in the thing?
Uh-huh.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
I'm saying the same shit I said 2 years ago?
Almost identical.
Huh.
At the time, Bill hates the Andor show.
What?
Had to punch out. I can't do this Andor. Too slow moving. No good. What do you think you were a big fan of? What did you say you loved during this episode?
I guess not Andor, because now I'm a huge fan of Andor. That grew on me.
Bill loves She-Hulk. The ending really impressed me.
Yes, it did. I know.
How much shit-talking did you have She-Hulk since then?
Well, only because of some of the stuff that's come out about it after, about why it was made instead of entertaining people. It was trying to...
But it did entertain you.
But it did entertain me. I mean, I knew what it was doing, but I was like, this is still pretty clever. This is Marvel breaking the fourth wall. They've never done that before. Deadpool did.
Yeah.
She-Hulk didn't. And as far as like... Okay, this must have been early in the season, too, because...
You said it was good at first, then it lost you, but then it really brought it around at the end, and you were really loving it.
Oh, I had a great time at the end.
Okay.
Just like I said before, I don't usually go back and watch a series twice. I did watch this series twice. For some reason,
Really?
It hit me. Yeah.
Well, you watched it once for me and once for you, because I never touched the damn thing.
It was different. I kind of enjoyed what it was trying to do, but yeah, it didn't age well for me.
Not to drive home the point that we're, just repetitive old men, we were also bitching about too many sequels for movies.
Yeah.
Unnecessary sequels. I think the main topic for this one here would have been the Halloween movies.
Oh, I hated those.
With Michael Myers in the background here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a cash grab.
Total cash grab. All that Blumhouse shit.
Yeah. It's just the charm of the Halloween franchise was completely lost with these remakes. Murder porn, as we call it.
This is where we started talking about murder porn. Just as Bill punched out of Andor, Scott punched out of the MCU. Really picking and choosing what I was watching at that time. Too much Marvel content.
Huh. That is interesting. I don't remember you punching out that early.
I didn't watch She-Hulk. I didn't watch Ms. Marvel.
Okay.
I didn't watch...
Moon Knight?
I did watch that. And I did watch Loki.
How about Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yep. This is the exact conversation we had on this episode.
Are you kidding?
I swear to God, almost shot for shot. Now we are jumping the shark. News. James Earl Jones sold his voice rights to Disney.
Yeah. AI voice. He's voiced now with AI. They uploaded his information into... I understand that technology better, so that's interesting.
Which was first done for the Kenobi series.
Is that the first time they had his... Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's right.
Yeah. Followed quickly by the first fuck-upper we ever had.
Ooh. Whose was it, mine or yours?
Me.
Yeah?
Kind of both.
Okay.
Bruce Willis did not sell his likeness for deep fake movies, as we thought.
No, I still thought that was true.
No, fake.
Not movies, but a commercial. There was a Russian commercial that used him, and it was a CGI version of him.
I don't think he gave rights to do that. They may have done it, but like when the James Earl Jones story came out that he sold his voice rights, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, well Bruce Willis did that with his likeness," and it was like, "No, that never happened."
Man.
So that was our first fuck-uppery.
All right.
Bruce Willis.
It's taken me a while to get used to the fact that newspapers are wrong more often than not. I said newspapers again. The media is wrong more often than not. Like back then, even 2 years ago, you trusted most of what you read.
Hey, at least we own it, man. At least we do fuck-upperies. We're honest about it. Other news, Rob Zombie's Monsters reboot. Awful.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I forgot it even existed until I listened to this show again.
Got to admit, I did like it, but it was not good.
It was not good, but I liked it for all the wrong reasons.
It was a perfect B movie that wasn't really meant to be a B movie.
Very campy. And our last news story, Dahmer was Netflix's biggest show. Our take was serial killers should not be idolized. Texas Chainsaw Massacre did it best by being inspired by a true story, but never really gave Ed Gein credit or immortalized him. And Bill was traumatized by Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
I still don't like to think about that movie. I still don't like looking at that Rooker actor, that guy, Michael Rooker, because he was in it. Yeah.
I lied. There was one more news story. Wolverine is going to be in Deadpool 3, and he's going to be played by Hugh Jackman. Breaking news of our first episode.
Really? So that was 2 years ago?
Yep.
Takes about 2 years to make a movie.
There it is.
Okay. So we knew that for 2 years?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It was the whole, hey, Hugh, you want to be in the movie? Yeah, cool, whatever.
Right. That little spot.
The spoiler. That was episode 1, man.
I don't know. Still sounds pretty great. Sounds exactly like what we're doing now.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Less formatted.
Yeah?
You had a segment called What Are You Excited For?
Yeah.
Done once and never gone back to.
I do remember my agenda template would have all these little things. Like, what are you watching? Came from that. That's probably the only holdover.
And
fuck-upperies and mailbag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Episode 22, movie flops that have become fan favorites.
That's a great topic. We did that?
We did that on May 1st, 2023. The show ran for 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. So a little bit longer. Sound was still terrible. Great intro. Willie Nelson. It's a Willie Nelson song. Bill just got back from L.A.
Okay.
Came to the realization, as he talks about multiple times on the show here, Bill can't drink like he used to.
Right.
Just got home from L.A. and still hungover.
Really?
Your words.
I don't remember going to L.A. and drinking that much.
I picked this episode because this was our first listicle.
Listicle? I like that word, listicle.
This was the first time I ever heard the word listicle.
I probably said it reminds me of testicle.
Actually, I said that.
Oh, did you? Okay. That's our humor.
Our first listicle was the biggest superhero bombs, which we Stole from Screen Crush, but we gave him credit.
Right. It's okay. You can steal as long as you tell people you
Give
did
credit.
it. Sure.
Do you remember some of those biggest superhero movie bombs?
From the list, no. From the top of my head, I could maybe think up a few.
Go for it.
Superhero bombs. And okay, let me ask you this. Was it recent or all time?
Kind of all over the place.
Yeah, like I don't think Swamp Thing 1 or 2 did very well.
No, not that. No. They weren't on there. This was from, well, I'll just give them to you. How about that?
Ghost Rider's on there?
The ones I wrote down, 2011's Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, that was a turkey.
That was a stinker. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, the sequel to Shazam.
Boy, that sucked.
So bad.
I think that movie killed that guy's career.
Yeah, he shot his mouth off about Pfizer and stuff, too.
He's in something now called The Purple Crayon, and it's one of the it's one of those
Never even
movies.
heard of it.
Nobody has. It bombed that bad.
And Superman 4 from 1987.
The Quest for Peace. Still one of my favorites. Canon Films' own Superman movie.
Yeah, first listicle, I thought that was a big one. Next one I had here, this is the last one I picked. The Killdozer.
The Killdozer.
Killdozer was episode, I think, 49. Episode
Okay.
49.
I think that's where we started to find our rhythm, because after the Killdozer episode, I was hearing from everybody.
Do you remember why we did the story of the Killdozer?
No.
The week before, you did a story about, and this is going to be 4 weeks in a row for a Van Halen story.
Woo.
You did a story about Eddie Van Halen driving a tank to Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst's house to get his gear back.
Right.
And he drove it right up the Hollywood Hills.
Right through Hollywood.
And I
Right
said,
through LA.
this is fucking Killdozer.
Yeah.
So you were like, I don't know what that is. You thought it was a monster truck. You thought it was Gravedigger.
Right. I still do.
So I did the deep dive, and I did some research on Killmeyer, I think his name was. Niemeyer?
Yeah, I forget.
I forget. I just listened to it, too. It's a shame. But Granby, Colorado's own.
Yeah.
Killdozer.
Yeah, I remember being disappointed that it didn't have giant tires and it wasn't crushing multiple vehicles.
Yeah, it was like a backhoe.
Yeah.
Or a front end loader, I guess it was.
But you tapped into something there. Like, there's a pocket of people out there that love this story. It's, the little man taking on the government. It's it's a political story in a way. People love it.
It meant a lot to me because I did enjoy the subject matter. This was the first episode that I actually did a full edit on. Meaning, I didn't just move our voices so we didn't overlap, and I didn't just get out the ums and the uhs and the breaks. I actually did the full sound drops and everything on this one.
Okay.
So that also makes this the first episode where every single time we say shit, the fart sound would play.
I love it. I laugh every time. I always wonder, too, if the audience is laughing when they hear the little but I laugh every time.
If you remember, there was a buried shit tank. And every time we said shit tank...
We're such children. It's
true.
unbelievable.
It's true.
We never grew up.
No. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite episodes. Top 3 for sure. If I tell somebody about the podcast, I'm like, check out the Killdozer.
That's a top 3. Might be for me, too. I also like the Kentucky Meat Shower. That one had me laughing pretty good.
I haven't listened to that one in a long time. I can't remember all the ins and outs of it. Instant classic for me, I think, has to be the Toronto Circus Riot.
Yeah.
I did like that one, too.
Yeah, our newest stuff is our best stuff. Who would have knew?
Like a fine wine. We're just getting better with age.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not burning out. We're getting better. Everybody else burns out. We're just getting better.
So thank you for letting me do some self-indulgence there and listen to myself talk on the radio for 3 straight hours.
I remember episodes like a Weird Al retrospective.
That was episode 3. Can you imagine we did that on episode 3?
Huh. Yeah. Us? Yeah, I can imagine.
Pee-wee?
Pee-wee. We did, I remember doing a Howard Stern one. I remember doing movie goofs or something like that.
Oh, things that made the movie that shouldn't have?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be candid, it's hard coming up with topics. It's kind of tough. Sometimes it's like, well, what can we talk about that other people haven't talked about? Or what can we talk about that other people have talked about that we can put an interesting spin on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's been easier lately. I don't know. We've been finding a stride lately.
Just going down these stupid rabbit holes.
That's it. There's so many of them.
Almost too many. Some weeks it's like, oh my God, what do I pick?
We're going to be on the air forever. If this stupid world keeps producing stuff, we're going to keep on producing shows.
Sure.
Yeah.
Endless supply of content. So that's what I've been doing. Just 100 episodes, man. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's been over 2 years, and like years are great, but that's just time. This is actually like work done. 100 episodes.
I used to be, and I still am, I play in bands, and I think about how much time I put into my music. I do photography. I think about how much time I put into that for like no return except makes us happy, you know? But this is kind of cool because we actually have an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great. You want to quit?
No, I'm good.
Ah, shit.
You want to quit?
I was hoping you'd say we're done. No, I don't want to quit. This is fun.
Yeah.
As long as people are still listening. Because if they're not, we'll just stop hitting record.
Well, I think the video's helping us.
We'll just
At least
have these conversations on our own. Like, we don't need to be taping
just
them.
have a microphone here like, oh, Bill, what did you do this week?
Can you
I'm just
imagine?
going to interview Bill.
Bill, the show's been off the air for like... off the air, it's a podcast. I still talk like radio and TV are a thing.
You don't even have a memory card in this recording device, do you?
I hope I do. I don't think this thing can... It looks like it's recording. That's my biggest fear, that one day we do a whole show and I forgot to hit record. It's happened.
We lost one.
The lost episode. Yeah. We did lose one.
I don't even know how that happened.
Me neither. And I forget how we rectified it.
We did a live show.
Oh, our first and last streaming show.
Yeah, we didn't stream it. We just
Didn't edit it.
it.
We talked about the same thing again, and this time didn't edit it. Is that what we did?
We dropped out news stories that were not relevant anymore. So it wasn't a shot-for-shot show, but we did it on a Sunday and put it out on Monday. So it was a quick turnaround.
I forgot about that. That was stressful.
We went back to internet. We didn't do it live.
That's right. I do remember now. God, I hated doing it through the internet.
So bad.
Buffering problems all the time. It was like that Mike Tyson fight. Oh, Scott, I didn't hear what you said. It broke up. Try again. Yeah. The old days. They're only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, anything else to say for our anniversary?
No, man. We'll keep it going.
Okay. How about we do news?
What you got for me?
All right, let's start with one you sent over. You excited for the Popeye horror movie?
Another public domain fiasco.
Popeye horror movie turns cartoon sailor into Jason Voorhees-like killer. Popeye is expected to premiere in January of 2025. I liked Popeye as a kid.
Sure.
Like, nobody now knows who Popeye... Our age they do, but no kid knows Popeye. Anyway, so it says Popeye is getting the live-action horror treatment in a new movie coming in January of 2025. ITN Studios, wherever they are, just released the first teaser images for its take on Popeye via BloodyDisgusting.com. Believe it or not, the project is not affiliated with the Twisted Childhood Universe or Pooniverse.
The Pooniverse.
Pooniverse.
Which is not what you think.
No. But that's the horror
the
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
What is Twisted Childhood Universe?
That's... So they're doing like sequels to... Because remember, they did Winnie the Pooh first. Then the next year, Tigger went public domain, so they did a Tigger movie.
And then they did a sailboat Mickey or whatever they call that.
Steamboat Willie. Yeah. Do you know what this is called? Popeye the Slayer Man.
I didn't see that in this. Is that really what it's called?
Another article came out after I sent you this one.
Right up our alley.
It reminds me very much of Thanksgiving, which, with the holiday coming up, if you haven't, go watch Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is one of the greatest bad movies ever. But here's what sucks, right? We talked about it on the show before. They skipped the sequel. They didn't even make a part 2. They made a part 3, which is the search for part 2. And we've loved, you and me watched the first Thanksgiving with our wives. We've never even watched part 3.
I feel like it was lightning in a bottle, man. I don't want to go back and watch some, too many. We said in episode 1, too many sequels. It didn't need a sequel. It was perfect the way it was. Perfectly awful.
I love the idea of the third movie looking for the second movie and somehow building a turkey-killing horror movie around it. That's incredible.
It feels very like Kevin Smith to me. Like he would do something like that.
Oh, yeah, like Tusk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you're right. Thanksgiving could have been done by Kevin Smith.
Sure.
But it was, no, because it was even worse than something Kevin Smith could make. It was so
It was
bad.
college kids, and they didn't even have enough money to get it rated, so it came out not even rated by the MPAA.
Yeah.
What is it?
The MPAA?
MPAA, yeah.
Motion Picture Association, yeah, of America.
So they couldn't get the MPAA.
Hey, remember that turkey puppet?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So bad.
It killed the dad and cut his face off and wore his face like a mask. And the girl came home from school and didn't realize it wasn't her dad. It was a turkey.
She thought it was her dad. She thought it was a turkey wearing her dad's skin.
It had
and
everything.
She had no idea it was a turkey.
A mutant turkey that was brought back because of Native American spirits. It was just all over the place, man.
Well, that started all this. I know it. It must have. It must have. Because after Thanksgiving, everything got weirder and fucking weirder.
So here's what I want to know about Popeye the Slayer Man. Is he going to be fighting Bluto or Brutus? Because remember, they changed his name. You didn't know who you were going to get. It was always the same guy.
Why did they change his name?
I don't know.
That's true. They did. Bluto and Brutus.
Sweet pea, olive oil,
Right.
the sea hag,
The Goon.
the goon, Alice the goon,
Alice the Goon.
the Jeep. Remember the Jeep?
Yes, the Jeep.
Jeep.
Jeep. They all got to be in it.
I hope so.
How long is this trend going to continue? Like one day will it be, Thundercats, the horror movie, and Snarf will be, killing people. Like, where does this end?
As long as Hollywood keeps putting out shit movies, we have content.
That's right. Thank you for making Popeye the Slayer Man.
Thank you for making our jobs easier.
All right, for this next story, guess this movie. All right?
Ooh.
This movie forced Woody Harrelson into Hollywood exile. He says, I was not enjoying it. After rising to prominence for his performance in the sitcom Cheers in the 1980s, Harrelson was on fire in the 1990s, appearing in many popular shows and movies. However, he was soon hit with the realization that some films aren't going to perform in the way you'd hope. Harrelson eventually took several years off from acting in movies during the late 1990s and early 2000s, with his only credit being 7 episodes of Will and Grace in 2001. Harrelson explained. Okay, well, I'm going to pause there.
What's the movie?
What's the movie?
Natural Born Killers?
No.
That came out, late 90s?
Yes. I feel like that came out when I was in college, mid-90s or something. All right. And then he had a couple other hits. And this I thought...
White Men Can't Jump.
Keep going. This I thought was a hit. But evidently this made him want to leave Hollywood. Or should I keep reading?
Zombieland's like the newer thing he did. I don't know. What did you keep reading?
Harrelson explained, well, I mean, a part of it was after the Larry Flint thing and this whole debacle where
People versus Larry Flint?
Yep, where the movie was kind of destined to do quite well. And then the whole campaign against it destroyed any chance of that.
I thought that was a big movie.
So did I. I don't remember a campaign against it.
No.
And the studios at the time didn't really fight it. They just kind of let it go. The actor hoped the movie would have been more successful since he had dedicated himself to it intensely. He says, and it was really devastating because that movie meant a lot. And myself and Ed Norton and Courtney Love and Milos Forman, the director, we put tons of work into that and tons of ourselves into that. And that was kind of a devastating blow, he admitted. In the end, Harrelson realized that he was not happy, and what he needed was a step back for a moment and enjoy his life. Thus, he exiled himself from Hollywood for a few years, telling NPR recently, I was not enjoying it. Like, this is a job you should be enjoying. So it was a good opportunity to do another important thing, which was...
Smoke weed.
And the most important of it all, it was to hang out with my family more, and so that's what I did. Wouldn't it be great to be an actor and just be able to take years off to hang out with your family?
I almost completely... Well, I did forget about People versus Larry Flint.
I never did. I love that movie. Thought it was great. That and Man on the Moon. Milos Forman had 2 really great movies.
Ooh, Courtney Cox.
Courtney Love. She was in both of them.
Courtney Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was all of a sudden a great actress.
Yeah.
And then she went back to being Courtney Love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't remember there being blowback on this movie. I don't remember Woody Harrelson vanishing because of this movie.
No.
Evidently he did.
Well.
That was a great movie. I even remember Marty McFly, George McFly.
George McFly, yeah. Crispin Glover.
I always thought the story of Larry Flint was fascinating because here you could look at him and go, filthy pornographer. However, he was really trying to. He stayed in business a lot, not only to make the money and be a filthy pornogapher, but because he believed in the right to be able to do what he's doing. First Amendment. The whole movie was about First Amendment rights.
He called out the hypocrisy of the First Amendment.
Yep. And he would. I remember when I studied a little bit of this stuff in college. I was a movie minor, and I remember studying entertainment law. I remember studying the case of Larry Flint and one of those old. Damn it, Bill. What is it? Who's the guy? One of those old, preacher types. Not Jim Baker.
Falwell. Jerry Falwell?
Yeah. And so in Hustler, which I may or may not have read as a kid, they had a lot of Mad Magazine-type jokes and parodies and shit like that, but it was very adult jokes.
Oh, so he was Hustler. I thought he was Penthouse.
No, he's Hustler.
Okay.
So they have this one of Falwell, and they're just lambasting him in this article or this cartoon or whatever. Falwell happened. I can't stand for this, and he sued and fought, and that's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And no, the courts went, sorry, Falwell.
It's parody.
What he's doing is protected by free speech laws.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm a big, free speech First Amendment guy. So I think that's why it really stuck with me.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember it being an underperformer. I don't remember it polarizing people. I thought everybody liked it.
Yeah. Hearing about it, I'm not surprised people took offense. During the time when it was happening, it was off my radar. I had no idea that there was this pushback.
Yeah.
Especially enough to make him go off the grid.
Right. I mean, I wonder, was he not getting movie roles? Was it so bad that he just wasn't getting jobs, so he just stepped away and said, I'm going to hang out with my kids? I'll come back for Will and Grace? That's worth it?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll use this opportunity to segue to another story. So we're talking about pornography in the 90s. There's a new documentary coming out. It is. Do you remember Girls Gone Wild?
Oh, yeah.
Remember this?
Yeah.
Remember late night commercials, Girls Gone Wild commercials like crazy.
Stern on the E! channel, every commercial break would be a Girls Gone Wild commercial.
There were I would fall asleep at night and wake up to infomercials of Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah.
Because different time.
No internet.
Different time. There was Hustler, pornography, sex, all that stuff was pretty mainstream for a while.
Yeah.
So they were putting out these videos. If you don't know what they were, I don't even really remember them.
They would go to spring break and just videotape girls getting drunk and lifting, basically flashing cameras and stuff. That's all it was.
It was like walking around Mardi Gras and filming everything.
Yeah.
That's all I thought it was.
I thought so too.
I don't remember even owning one of these tapes, so
No.
I don't think I've ever seen one. But they were everywhere. And nobody was kind of against them. It was just the times. It was everybody has fun with sexuality. It's the 90s. We're not there anymore. So now there's a documentary coming out. And the title of this AOL article is, and how the hell is AOL still around? I found this on AOL.com. Somehow it's still around.
I still use my AOL address.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You have an AOL email address?
I do.
I know you did.
Still do. Never changed it.
Are you still going to the supermarket to get the free CDs to get the subscription
AOL?
to keep it alive?
No. I don't know how it's still alive.
Well, this says Girls Gone Wild victims, enemies, and employees speak out in trailer for new documentary. It's called Girls Gone Wild, The Untold Story, offers a behind-the-scenes look at the multi-million-dollar franchise created by notorious film producer Joe Francis, in which young women were filmed exposing themselves on spring break for adult entertainment tapes that were sold on late-night television. The upcoming documentary includes interviews with former employees, enemies, and survivors. Survivors.
That seems extreme, but maybe. Go on.
I mean, maybe there's some stories there where, this could be really dark, or it could just be hey, you know what's making a lot of money? Shit like Dan Snyder and Nickelodeon. Shit like Diddy. I don't know. None of whom are named in the trailer, but these people open up about the shocking nature of the videos and how they have impacted countless lives. Like a quote here, it says, "I never thought that would come back to haunt me 20 years later," one survivor says in the exclusive trailer, while another claims, "I was too young to be taped." So I do remember hearing that.
They were underage?
Yeah, it did get kind of out of control, and I guess they weren't doing what they were supposed to do to make sure everybody was above 18.
They would have had to sign releases, though, right?
I guess they lie, fake IDs.
Don't come back and try and sue.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty salacious, but it was a different time back then, and nobody seemed to mind this stuff back then. Now we do. So it's like, let's take a second look at it is what I guess they're trying to do. Do you remember we used to play a game called the Guy Game
Oh, yeah.
on Xbox?
And if you got the answer right, it would take away a puzzle piece, and you can see a
Some nudity.
scantily clad woman in the background.
Well, they were flashing just like...
Sure.
Yeah. So it was basically Girls Gone Wild, the video game. And I remember it was on Xbox. And I was like, whoa, Xbox is now R-rated. They have R-rated games on Xbox. And then I remember hearing that one of the girls in that game were underage.
Oh.
Yeah, so this must have been a problem. Nobody was really checking IDs when they were running the cameras on all the people flashing.
Damn.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought who would have thought somebody in Hollywood would have been so irresponsible?
Who would have thought? Hollywood, we thought they had it all buttoned up.
And we thought our stuff didn't age that well.
No, it didn't.
Not as bad as this.
So, sorry to put the date on when this comes out, but this is the kind of dirt I like. I'll be watching this.
Netflix?
You know what? I didn't even put it down here.
Documentaries and scandal.
Love Scandal. I just hope it's not bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like, hopefully there's good dirt here. Not just, oh, you're a pervert. Oh, really?
So
Whole
the thing now
saying,
is they're just going to show clips from the tapes on the documentary. So they're still using that old footage, but they're going to do it in a way where it's just like, oh, this is bad. But most people are going to watch it so they can see the clips.
oh, I bet they censor them.
Okay.
I'll bet you if they run any of the old footage, they'll censor them now.
You're probably right.
Yeah, because nudity isn't okay today.
Apparently not.
Unless you sneak down into the basement and watch your Pornhub and your OnlyFans. Back to the shadows with you, pornography.
Back to the booths.
Are there still booths?
I don't know.
Oh, my God. When I used to hang out in New York with like 14, 15, every other building right in Times Square.
Yeah.
Before Giuliani came and cleaned it all up. Yeah, it was peep shows.
was
Constant
a
peep
cesspool.
shows. It was crazy. All right, here's one that you sent me. Home Alone's iconic McAllister house is for sale,
Yeah.
but fans are horrified.
Well, they like redid the entire inside. Like the decor on the inside is awful.
Well, modernized, I guess, but
They asked for like $5 million or something.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember the Home Alone house that well to be able to go, oh, you guys have totally changed it. It doesn't look like the Home Alone house anymore. I'm sure they just modernized it. I'm sure it's got a
Probably.
new kitchen, a new bathroom, a new, like everybody does to their house. And fans are horrified.
No, there's apparently like photos on the listing on the website where like the inside looks really, really bad. Like maybe they didn't modernize it, or it's been updated since the movie, but probably should be updated again.
Okay. Well, maybe the guy who owned the house is the guy who owned my house. We call him the butcher.
Oh, it's
There's still things
just cobble stuff together.
Yes. There's still things I look at and I'm like, I think this guy made this window. And I don't think he did any of this right. The wall that we're looking at here, the other side of the cameras here, I built that wall.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I had to destroy this shabby thing that some guy made. It was not made by a professional.
So he was not a handyman.
He wasn't very handy. He was a man. But, like, he didn't know what he was doing. So shit was just falling apart. I don't know where else in this house he has infiltrated.
Ugh.
I worry one day I'll find something. Oh, the guy did his own plumbing. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Maybe you have a shit tank.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, dude, like these acoustic ceilings up here, one day we went in there and we found a gun up there.
A gun?
A fake gun. Don't worry.
Oh, I was going to say, holy shit.
But it was like a weird gun. It was a big machine gun made of foam. But like, you know the foam that you get when you unpack a TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it out of that. And it was pretty detailed. And he hit it up there. It didn't shoot.
What?
But he hit it up there. And I found it one day. I was like, what the fuck is this?
So
Why would you do this?
You bought your house from a crackhead?
No, but maybe.
Ay.
Well,
I can't believe the house was going for $5 million. It's a big property.
it's a big property. I wasn't surprised by that.
Yeah. Chicago suburbs?
Cost of living is probably a lot, more out there than it is where we live.
Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't go like the Christmas Story route and like make it an Airbnb.
You think there's enough demand? Is this movie so beloved that people would want to
Home
stay
Alone?
in it? Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
People are still into it.
Huge Hollywood or huge Christmas movie.
I really haven't seen it in, maybe decades.
We watch it every year.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it on the list with like Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation?
It doesn't rank as high. My grandfather loved it. My dad's dad, he loved Home Alone.
Yeah.
Dude, when he puts that spider on Harry's face and he screams, he used to laugh like an idiot.
I don't even remember it.
Really?
No.
You got to watch it again, man.
Then they did part 2 where he got lost in New York.
Yep.
I remember a little Trump cameo.
Trump's cameo there, yeah.
And there was a bird lady. That's kind of all I remember about that one.
The bird lady took the role of the guy with the salt.
Nope, not even.
Oh, man.
Yeah, guy with the salt.
Yeah. They call them the butcher. His victims are in the salt.
Wow, I don't remember this at all.
Or any of this?
No. And there was a third one.
There was 5 of them now.
There's 5 of them.
At least.
But they don't have Macaulay Culkin in
No,
3,
anything
4,
after
and 5.
2 did not have in Macaulay Culkin.
That was probably like straight to video, I'll bet you.
The newest one was a streaming thing that had on the girl from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and some little husky British kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it.
Could that be something they could make now? You know there's going to be a Home Alone reboot at some point. That's prime for what they're doing in Hollywood right now.
I hope it's better than what they put on the streamer. I'll tell you that.
I guarantee Macaulay Culkin is calling the studios every day going, don't forget to make that reboot. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm not so busy.
Macaulay Culkin did a full episode of Angry Video Game Nerd.
Did he really?
Yeah, a couple years back. And he was like reviewing all the Home Alone video games. He came in playing the little Nero's Pizza Boy.
Well, if they can get him, we can get him.
You are not wrong.
So I'm not going to say anything bad about him in case he's going to listen to this. I loved him. He was one of my favorite. Like, he was in that Good Son.
Good
remember?
Son. I was just going to say it was really him and Elijah Wood.
Yeah, he was great on
movie.
screen. He was great on screen. But just sometimes these kid actors just somehow are not able to keep it going.
He played Richie Rich.
Richie Rich. Yeah. And there's one other thing I remember seeing him in. Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he had a good run there. Then something happened. Got ugly. I don't know.
Puberty.
All right, what else we got here? Another one from you. Guy Fieri, Sammy Hagar. You know where I'm going with it? As we're drinking our Cabo Wabo.
Yes, which was
owned?
originally, he sold it. It used to be Sammy Hagar's tequila.
I didn't know he sold it.
He
All this
sold it
time.
years ago.
I thought I was feeding Sammy Hagar with
No.
my purchases.
He got fed. He made millions off Cabo.
Yeah, Sammy Hagar supposedly filthy rich. So what's this story? He got into...
So he now owns a new tequila distillery.
Which I forgot to write down.
With Guy Fieri.
It says, Guy Fieri, Sammy Hagar's trucks carrying $1 million of tequila hijacked in double heist after crossing the border.
Crossed into, like, Laredo, Texas, and they stole the entire truck.
Wow. So this is probably not, hey, there's a truck, let's steal it. This is probably a planned
They
thing.
think it was a planned heist, yeah. And it was carrying so many bottles of Blanco and Reposado, and also this, like, special, like, 30-month aged Reposado. So, like, they lost a lot of time, and not just investment in product, but investment in time to make that product.
Wow. Yeah, it says the former Van Halen singer said the theft of the two trucks was a huge setback, but he and Fieri were glad nobody was hurt during this crime. So This reminds me, I don't have quite the story, but early when I was out of high school, I was working on the internet. I started working for a guy outside of Philadelphia who sold CDs. He just had a CD store. He was selling used CDs.
Okay.
And he had the foresight to go onto the internet. eBay was a thing, but almost nothing else was. And there was no shopping cart or nothing back then.
Craigslist?
I don't even think Craigslist was out yet.
Wow.
So he decided, I'm going to make money by selling these used CDs on eBay. And he hired a web developer and he created a store. And that developer was able to figure out a way to take a Excel spreadsheet full of what he had,
Line
because it was
items.
all manual, being processed. There's no catalog managers or anything like they have now in dynamic tools. You actually had to write it by hand into a spreadsheet. He hired me. He said, "You're savvy. You do this. Every time something new comes in,
Add it to the
you
spreadsheet.
document it, add it to the spreadsheet, publish it, and then you got to get this stuff onto eBay because that's where we sell it." That's where I discovered what I do now, SEO. I'm like, well, why don't I try to get some more sales through search engines? And then turned out there's a community brewing, and I joined that community. So I thank him for my entree into my career. But one day, as he was starting to trust me more and more, he said, "Listen, I got to go do an inventory run. You want to come with me? It's in New York." I said, "Any reason, go to New York City, I'm in." We go to the shadiest part of New York at night. I've never seen anything shadier than this. And a guy pulls a truck around, and they open the back of the truck. It is full of stolen CDs.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember he had tons and tons of this. It was called something Superstar. It was a rapper. I'm pretty sure it was Ghetto Superstar or something like that. And it was this is the biggest thing. We have so many of these. We're going to sell these like crazy. And I'm looking at him like, holy shit, this is stolen. This is all stolen. This guy is dealing in stolen CDs.
Yeah.
I don't know to what degree all his stuff all his inventory was stolen, but I was like, okay. And I went with it for a little while because I was like, this is my job. I didn't last at the company much longer after that because I was like, we're all going to go to jail, so I better get the fuck out of here.
Was it your job to drive the stolen truck back?
No, but I remembered you never told me that this is how you're getting your inventory. I thought people were selling you CDs and you were reselling them.
Well, maybe this guy moved on to tequila.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I remember too that we also used to tell the record companies that we were going to do reviews on the internet to get free CD demo copies.
Yeah.
And they would stamp out, they would put a little hole punch on the UPC symbol. And they'd say, you can't sell these because there's no UPC. Well, we had no problem selling them. We were selling brand new stuff that wasn't even released on eBay because we were conning these record companies into giving us CDs that we were going to, quote, review on the internet. Shady deals, man. Shady deals.
They were different times, those early days of the internet. It really hasn't gotten much cleaner since then.
I was going to say, times aren't that much different. I mean, people are still robbing people to make money. It sucks. All right, let's see what else I got here. I think I got maybe one or two more. Or maybe that is it. All right, I do got one more. We'll close with this. So we've been talking about the Superman trailer. They've been working on it since July.
What's this guy's name?
Corn Sweat or
Corn
something like
Sweat.
that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So one of the actors they got in there, Frank Grillo, I think his name is.
Okay, yeah.
I know he was in one of the MCU movies. He played, what's the guy's name? Snake something, Sidewinder or something like that. He was in one of the Captain Americas. So he's in this movie. So they were talking to him. And he says, I got a sneak peek at a little bit of the trailer, and I'm not joking. And I'm not blowing this out of proportion. My skin was hot, and I had goosebumps. That's how great it is. Grillo continued and also said good things about David Corn Sweat. By the way, this kid, David, is going to be a superstar. An absolute superstar. He's amazing, as is the rest of the cast in the film. And Justin James's take on it, I think it's going to be the movie.
Good.
Yeah, we need a good Superman.
I was just going to say, I haven't seen a good Superman in a long time.
It was Henry Cavill a bad Superman?
Okay, so I was just going to correct myself. He wasn't a bad Superman. He had a bad script and a bad story to act out.
Why did you say that name? I didn't like him as Superman.
No?
He's a fine actor. He's a cool character in a lot of the stuff. But for me, I think I was just too used to Christopher Reeve's, super nice guy, Mr. All-American. This other guy seemed a little darker, a little bit more unhappy.
That's how he was written. I don't think that script would have allowed Cavill to act that Superman as a nice, happy, shiny guy.
When Joss Whedon did his take on Justice League after taking it over from the other guy, all of a sudden you saw they were trying to make a brighter Superman.
Yeah.
His colors were brighter. He was more Christopher Reeve color than that dark.
Like maroon and blue and...
Remember the bad CGI mustache?
Ugh.
Hey, I'm a happy Superman. It was totally different. And it was a little jarring.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Superman I want. I want somebody likable. I didn't think Henry Cavill's Superman was likable in any way.
But I don't blame him for that. I blame the story that they wrote for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe this will fix it. Maybe we'll start to fall in love with Superman again.
Maybe.
We need it.
Maybe it won't be Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Look, I'll take that over the last Superman movies.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
The scene where Christopher Reeves fights Christopher Reeves.
With the tires in the junkyard?
Yeah, and pounds him into the ground. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'd like that they had to use Nuclear Man because Cannon wouldn't pony up the money to get an actual licensed villain. They made up one.
Yep. That's the way it was done, man.
Nuclear Man.
Destroy Superman.
Later. He's a little bit anxious.
That's all we got?
That's all we got.
All right. Well, happy 100th again. And thank you, everybody, for listening. To many more. We're going to keep trying to live up to this tagline. Stupid, yet strangely satisfying.
Strangely satisfying.
We will get you some more historical stupid facts next week. Thanks for letting us do some self-indulgence here for a retrospective of work already done. And we'll see you next week.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Pour a cheerful toast and fill it. Happy anniversary. But be careful you don't spill it. Happy anniversary.